George, welcome to the show, and you can take it away.
Great to see you. But before you start, can I do the titles, please? Please let me do the titles.
You certainly can. As soon as I get to my elements, and I'm ready to go. So you take it away.
Okay, let's roll titles and start the show.
What a relief to have all the pressure taken off of me to do the intro.
I'm finished now. That's all I wanted to do. So thanks very much.
You know what? That just means you did your homework and watched some episodes. I'm just gonna spring that on some future guests and see if they even know what I'm talking about. And if they don't, I'll be like, it's not mutual admiration. I get it. You don't watch my work, but I watch yours.
You can say, do you want to do the titles? And just watch the face go, huh?
I don't. Is this live? Yeah. So we're here today to talk about getmelovedup.com. First off, I have to congratulate you on the brilliance of the marketing of the title alone.
Oh, thank you.
The first thing I did was run to Google and type into Safari, getmelovedup.com. I went, smart man. He bought the URL. He made that. Everything is just like perfect. I was like, if he named the movie after a website and didn't have the website as his movie's website, I would be disappointed. So
yeah, maybe. But no, I bought the. I had to, obviously, when you're playing with those kind of words, it takes you to all sorts of sites that you didn't know existed before, and you'd be amazed at just that play on words. How many of those URLs are already taken for people's recreational value, and so I eventually found that one, and it seemed to be safe and free from any.
I was going to say that means there's a getlovedup.com, which I'm scared to look at, and there's a melovedup.com, which I'm also scared to consider what that would be. Yeah.
And I own them all. No, I don't.
Yeah, there we go.
So once I got that, I was happy with that. Then I just bought it and decided, right, that was going to be the title of the movie. And it was, I mean, genuinely had to work through umpteen different names. So I can't remember what it was. The original script was called. It was called something close to that. It's been in my head so long that I can't remember. But it doesn't really roll off the tongue. Rolls off my tongue because I've said it so often. Getmelovedup.com, and people say to me, "What's it called?" I say, "Getmelovedup.com." Say that again. Getmelovedup.com. All right. Is it a porn? No.
I generally feel I get asked that about every one of my. Oh, you're an independent filmmaker, so it's pornography, right? Like, no.
That's where the money is.
Not yet. I've been able to make legitimate movies till this point, at least. I don't know. Post pandemic, maybe I'll be looking for work. It'll be a different story. So tell us, tell the audience in your own words, just a brief summary of what the film is about.
Okay, it's getmelovedup.com is a dating site in the film, and these young people, I'll say young people, they're not children, but they're in the sort of about age 20, 19, 20, 21, that kind of age group, anything like that. And they're both under pressure to get a partner. The boy is under pressure from his family, get yourself a girlfriend type of thing, and the girl's under pressure from her workmates, because she's single, and in a world where it's kind of, what, you're single? Oh no, there's something missing in your life. You have to fill that gap with another person, which is the kind of society that we live in. But in fact, I'm single and I don't have anybody, and I'm happy. So I like to call myself indie rather than being single. There's nothing missing in my life.
Have you heard of getmelovedup.com? Maybe to start a profile. Yeah.
So this so they end up they sign up to getmelovedup.com, and this takes them on dates, basically. And each of the dates is more or less a comedy sketch in its own right. It's they could each even be like a wee short film, if you like. So there's half a dozen of them that I mean, when I blocked the script, I blocked it as where will we start? Let's say introduction. And then after the introduction of the characters, then I had and the setup of getmelovedup.com. Then it was like a block of date 1, for the girl, date 1 for the boy, then a meet up, date 2 for the girl, date 2 for the boy, meet up, date 3 for the girl, date 3 for the boy, meet up, and then they actually meet up with each other purely by chance, nothing to do with the dating company at all. And then that leads them down a whole other road away from the dating agency, but they end up on a completely separate adventure going down that road. Excuse me.
No problem. I like the your lead. Is it Margreta? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Margreta Mara. How did you find her? She's very charming in this film. She's a lot of fun to watch. All the hijinks that come along with bad dates. She those reactions of hers are quite wonderful. How did you find her for the project?
Well, she was Margaret was absolutely fantastic. She's actually from Latvia, and but she's living in Glasgow at the moment. But her mother is quite a big, well-known TV star in Latvia. You know, like one of the big soap operas in Latvia. Her mum is one of the big main characters there. So young Margaret has basically grown up on film and TV sets all her days, and even her grandfather, in fact, was heavily involved in films and acting. So she comes very much from an acting and film background, and but she was training and living in Glasgow at the time, and originally she was auditioning for another part. One of the dates, if you like, was what we had her about, but we really liked Margareta, so we kind of kept her to one side. She was pinned for that date, for that character, and then we already had a lead character, a girl that we were working with, and just when we started having meetups and going through the process, it's, you know, these people have got to be right for the film. Apparently 70% or 80% of a director's job is the casting. If you get the casting right, the rest of the film takes care of itself, is what people say who are there. And so we just found out that this other girl wasn't suitable for the main role, but we immediately went to Margaret and thought, well, let's get somebody else for that character, and let's make Margaret the lead role for the girl. And for the boy, young Sean Johnson, I've known him for a while. The two of us both trained at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland in Glasgow. So we were in the same class, even though I'm much older. But my history is the fire service. I was in the fire service for years, and then so I did this later on in life, filmmaking. Whereas young Sean did it, you know, basically from school. So, but we had been in the same class, and we had acted in 2 or 3 different plays on stage before. And he's actually worked for me on a couple of stage plays that I have written.
Okay.
And when I was trying to think of somebody who would do it, Sean just fitted the bill great, and he's so easy to work with. He's and you know what it's like yourself working with other people. If you can find somebody who fits in with your timing and your flow, and you know they're going to be there on time, they're going to be prepared, they can learn the lines, you know, all that kind of carry on. If you get somebody turning up who's late, not very sure what's going on. Oh, is it this page of the script I'm doing today? You're like, what? Just get off my set. But Sean's not like that at all. He's super prepared, and that just makes him so easy to work with. And so the two of them, Sean and Margareta, were like, even when we were speaking to them, we thought they're poles apart. The two of them are totally different people, and when you get that kind of opposites attract type thing in society, whatever, we kind of thought, well, the fact that they're so kind of opposite each other. I mean, she's quite tall, and he's quite small and stupid haircut and everything. And we just thought, do you know what? That would we reckoned that would add to it. The fact that they were, you know, if they were both, you know, 6'2" and stunningly gorgeous models, nobody would believe it. They would just think, no. That's not like,
yeah, you're more interested in telling real characters than sort of the Disney or Hollywood sanitized version of things.
yes,
You know,
absolutely.
you don't have your male lead with somebody who's 20 years their junior
Yeah.
as their counterpart. Listen, there's another character that I want to talk about the casting too. Where did you find the actor to play Paul?
Oh, that would be me.
Yeah,
And I thought he was by far and away the best, but don't tell anybody else.
you're like,
No,
I made 100 other people audition, but it was me. No,
yes, yes.
I bring it up because I want to ask, this is your first feature film, but then not only that, you decide to, you do a Robert Redford or a Mel Gibson where you're just like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna direct and I'm gonna act at the same time like that. Why not make it more difficult for myself?
Well, no, I've done several short films and everything as well, and I'm acting in them as
Okay.
well. And I think it's because as an actor, to try and get quality work is mega difficult,
Mm-hmm.
to being almost impossible. To get good quality work, anybody can work, and anybody will employ you to work for free. And I never worked for free, and so it gets to the point where, if you can't, if there's a spell of time goes by where I haven't had any sort of decent quality work, I'm thinking I need to do something now, because you end up getting a big gap in your CV when you think, well, what did you do all that time? Well, nothing. So I tried to fill those gaps with things that I've written myself, whether it's a short film or something like that. But kind of always working on something really. But none of this stuff is cheap. It's all very, very expensive, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, the company, well, I'm self-employed. I mean, I know you'll have a different way of doing things in your own countries and stuff like that, but here I'm self-employed as George Carson, as my name, also trading as Blazebuster Productions, which is the things we're allowed to do with the government.
Mm-hmm.
So, and anybody who's ever worked for me under the banner of Blazebuster Productions has always been paid. And because I know what I'm like, if I'm not going to work for free, then I don't expect people to come and work for free.
Yeah, that's a great attitude.
And I am very fortunate, though, because I'm old and I have a fire service pension, if you like. So I've got an income coming in which keeps my head above water no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably allows me the finances, if you like, to allow me to do these kind of things.
Well, it's very rare that any artist doesn't have some sort of side hustle or side job or mainstay job, at least until they grow into a point. Like you say, all of this is, your strategy is wise, because yes, you're going up for auditioning. You can be employed as an actor on other people's sets, but I often talk with my actor friends, and like, if you want to act, then go act. Take your iPhone out, go make a short film. Like, you can take all the acting classes you want, but at some point it might be more beneficial to turn that into like a practical application. If you're going to act for yourself, why not do it in a form that you can now put these short films out to the world, make these indie features that you can take to festivals, put on online platforms, and just better, constantly better your reel, constantly keep, the public aware that, yes, you are acting, you are working. So I think it's a very wise strategy.
The more you do, the more you get to do, is what happens. And when it comes to your acting classes, I know some of don't get me wrong, there are some very, very good acting classes. Yeah. And you can spend one day with somebody and you go, my God, I've just learned more today than I have in the last 5 years, or whatever you're at. But there are many, many other acting classes or master classes or whatever, who are basically run by failed actors who are just trying to make a fast buck out of you for and I see so many students who think, oh, I'm going to such and such a class, and you think, why? No, don't do that. Oh, how much are they charging you? Oh, hundreds of pounds. You go, what? Stop, just go. Yeah. If you took that money and went and made a short film, you'll learn far more from just making your own short film than you went listening to his ideas or her ideas or whoever it happens to be.
Sounds like you have a workshop you could start called Creating Your Own Short Film, where you get to help people make their own short films, but they have to cast this actor I know named George Carson in one of the roles and put up the budget. No, it is true. There's a lot of safety in this industry that comes from, it's scary. It's scary to do it, right? And breaking that barrier for the first time, where you're the one in control, and you're not relying on other people to just hire you to do your job. It's a very scary thing, and like I do, but I think you're very helpful to your actor friends and pushing them in that direction and trying to. I'm often the same. I'm a big just get out there and make the stuff that you want to make, and fear of failure. You can conquer the fear of failure by doing. Because once you fall on your face a few times and you stand up and you go, oh, my nose doesn't even hurt that bad. And really nobody cares. Nobody has like cast me out of the entertainment industry because I made a bad short film. And bad is subjective anyways. You just have to do it. And the more you do it, the more you get to do it, as you say.
Yeah, and if you make 10 short films, 9 of them might be absolute rubbish. But your friends will all say, oh, that was a lovely film. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was, it was so good. And then you look at the views on whatever, YouTube or Vimeo or whatever you use, and you see like, hardly anything on there, and you think, nobody's watching this film. And but I was very fortunate. One of my early films was called Just Gemma, and it won the Hollywood New Cinema Film Festival.
Okay.
I basically retired from the fire service on the 5th of February, 2015, I think it was. And like 2 or 3 weeks later, I was in LA because they wanted to interview me about Just Gemma, and it was playing in the Los Feliz cinema for a week. And I thought, I've made it. But the film's less than 4 minutes long, It's but it's just a lovely wee.
Is that the cinema that Quentin Tarantino just bought, I think, last week?
Oh, is it? It's a fantastic cinema.
Was it on Sunset Boulevard?
Yeah, just off Sunset Boulevard, just up in Los Feliz. And there's a lovely wee French restaurant right next door. Beautiful food. It's a lovely area to be altogether.
Yeah.
I could live there easily. If somebody pays me to go and live, I'm there.
I very much enjoyed my time in LA, and I'm looking forward to a post-pandemic world where I'm back. But honestly, living outside of LA is also wonderful because there's more opportunity to make independent film. It gets a little easier, a little cheaper, a little friendlier. That people are willing to help you out. What making this, first feature, you've made shorts. What's the biggest challenge you face in making this specific film?
Well, we tried to get funding, which was just impossible, and we tried everything to try and get funding from people.
In terms of like the traditional routes of going to production companies or networks or the government or things like that?
All these kind of places. Yeah. I even hired a girl who was a bit of an expert in getting funding. She because sometimes it's the way you present the wording in these kind of places, and she said to me things like, is there anybody in your cast that's transgender or something? I went, no. Is there anybody got disabled? Because I can get you 1,500 quid like right now. I went, no. Well, she said, George, look, this is ridiculous. I can get you a few thousand. I think you should recast, and I can get you a few thousand. I went, no, that's just not happening. The people that we've got are the people that we've got. Now, we didn't do that first and then try and get the funding. This was everything was a mix and match, Well,
listen, loyalty is important. I value loyalty over just about everything else in this industry. It's not always reciprocated, but I think that's good. But yeah, there's a massive push for diversity and underutilized actors that may have disabilities or whatever it is, and that's all incredibly important. But I think sometimes what people don't realize with independent film is like you're also using friends, people you've worked with in the past, people that you have like come up with creating a film, and that community you've built can't always just check boxes because that's the thing that society is pushing, and it's not. We have the same thing. Canada has a lot of grant money as well, and there is a huge push for female-led creations, diversity, and all very important and needs to be addressed after a long history of not addressing it. But I feel you that not every single independent film checks those boxes, and sometimes you just have to find a different way to get your financing.
Yeah. So the financing was impossible. So it's all self-funded. Please
I
give me
mean,
money, please.
yeah, I take my hat off to you, but my headphones are blocking it. But a virtual, my hat off to you, because that is it's a bold move. And again, I don't think a lot of people on the outside of the entertainment world understand that's the same as you deciding to build your own car from scratch and hoping that it will pass all the safety recommendations, hoping that you ever figure out what it will take, and probably realizing if you did go to build your own car, you're going to end up spending a lot more money than you initially thought you'd get it done for, where maybe it would have just been easier to buy an existing car. It's just such a massive challenge. The fact that you got the movie made, the fact that this movie can make people laugh, the fact that you got to enrich the lives of those who joined you on the process and better the actors around you. That is the goal. That is the feat. And that is exactly the reason why people should watch getmelovedup.com on Reveal. Reveal.net, revealmovies.com. Check it out, please. We're running out of time because I like to keep these things short. But George, it was a pleasure.
No,
listen, you know what you do? Get your short films on Reveal, these short films that we heard about, and then we'll have a reason to come back and do a follow-up discussion down the road.
Excellent, Gavin. Can't thank you enough. It's an absolute honour to be part of Reveal, and I'm so glad that getmelovedup.com is getting watched so much. I mean, we used to have weekly meetings with William on a Sunday night, and every Sunday went past it. Yeah, getmelovedup.com still number one on the list, and every week
given.
Please still be number one. Please still number one.
I've heard a lot of rumors about this William character. I hope to meet him one day.
Yes, but,
I've got to. I will sign off to you now, and we will hopefully see you back with lots more material on Reveal.
Thank you so much. Stay safe and happy, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, George.